Hi, good evening. My name is Jay Rothman, and welcome to Real Men, Real Talk Live. Hi, good evening. Again, my name is Jay. I am the host of the show. I am excited to introduce my co-host this evening, coming in from the man of the land from down under. He calls Australia home. We know him as Evislove Heath. Welcome to the show, Ev.
Thanks for having me, my brothers.
Good to see you this evening. We have Mr. Josh Richer, the man from SoCal, California. Welcome to the studio tonight, Josh Richer.
Pleasure to be here as always.
All right. And we, of course, we have Mr. Jeff Fasano. Last week had a little love affair with SoCal, California, but he's back home now. He calls Nashville, Tennessee home. Jeff Fasano, welcome to Real Men Real Talk Live this evening.
It's a pleasure.
All right. So last week was, let's just go back into memory lane as we wait for some of our viewers to jump on with us this evening. Last week, it seems like it was just yesterday, but we had three of us sitting side by side in the same studio, right where Josh Richard's sitting this evening. And boy, oh boy, what an amazing experience for us. We're waiting for the guests to jump on board. Any of you guys have anything you want to just share from your takeaway from that experience of last weekend?
It feels like it was so long ago.
Yeah, man.
Doesn't it?
Funny that, Jeff. Yeah, man.
I mean, for me, it was the first, other than going to the wedding and photographing my friend's wedding in San Diego on Thursday, it was essentially the first thing I did when I got to Los Angeles, and other than the whirlwind that took place in Los Angeles from the next 5 or 6 days, just feels like I was like, wow, it was last Friday that we were doing that.
Yeah, and
it was great.
It really was. And Josh, I want to take a moment here just to thank you for opening up your home to us to spend that intimate time together, not only for the show, but after and then the next day. And we just deep dived into all kinds of intimate conversations, real men, real talk. And it's something I'll always remember and cherish.
Going to the beach the next day, walking the beach.
Three of us just walking next to each other, able to chat about anything we wanted, anything and everything. And then powwow over some fun surprises that we may share with all of you in a future date. But just sharing space for multiple hours was such a treat. I mean, truly, I loved last weekend.
We did too, and in a few minutes, I've got a surprise for you guys and for our viewers. Speaking of our viewers, I want to take a moment here to welcome our viewers to tonight's broadcast, episode number 65. If you should hear something that you like or love, we invite you to drop it down into the comments section. But if you like what you hear or love what you hear, please tap your love button on your monitor and light us up. Tonight's topic is all about manifestation. Have you personally manifested anything in 2021? And if not, what's holding you back? We're going to really deep dive in tonight and break down what manifesting your dream life could look like, whether it be the relationship that you're seeking or want to be in, whether it be a health condition and or even a career shift or change or pivot. How can we manifest those in this moment for ourselves? What would that look like? It's a powerful topic because it's one we hear about, especially in the spiritual community. But not many of us really know what that process can look like. But as we wait for our viewers to come on, Again, if you should hear something that you like, love, light us up, drop a love, tap your love button, and bring us home tonight. But what I want to do in this moment, as we have more viewers jumping on, I want to share a little surprise with all of you guys. You may have seen bits or pieces of it, but you haven't seen it until this moment.
Under the starlight, we'll find our way, I know. This is the start of something beautiful. With you by my side, there's no place that we can't go. This is the start of something beautiful. When the wind moves along your face, it captures
Oh, I got it on mute.
everything I long to say. So don't look back, love, and don't you wait. Just say you'll run with me, come what may. Under the starlight, we'll find our way, I know. This is the start of something beautiful.
Very
Mm,
cool.
that is beautiful, brother. Well put together, man. Hey,
Yeah.
what about that, Josh? Hey, he's telling us
Hey,
to
man.
clip all these videos, and all of a sudden, Mr. Rothman just clips this together.
I said I wouldn't cry tonight.
That is beautiful,
Oh.
brother. Thanks for sharing. Jay.
Wow. What? Whoa. Wait a minute. Hold on here.
Jay loves a tear. You always got me
Josh.
now,
Gosh,
Josh.
we're 7 minutes in, and you got emotional. What's happened?
I
What's
think
going on?
this has to be a new real man record. Tears
What
at
happened?
7 minutes in, Jay. That was beautiful. Thank you
Yeah.
for
That
putting
was,
that together. It
Yeah.
encapsulated what the weekend was, which was yes, we did, Katrina. if you jumped in at minute 6, that was a beautiful video, Jay. That captured every bit of the warmth and complete celebration of emotions that being able to physically share space with you guys and touch you guys. And again, it was just such a treat to get hours, consecutive hours of beautiful time with you. So thank you both, Jay and Jeff. And Ev, we got a date with Destiny, brother. It's coming up.
He's coming, brother. That's why we're going to manifest it, my brothers.
Right? That's what tonight is about. Welcome to the manifestation episode.
Really?
Yeah, but not for 1 second did I feel like I wasn't there, my brothers. And that just captures everything. Even in that short, how long was that, Jay? About 20 seconds, 30 seconds, that little video?
I think it was about 2.5 minutes or so.
Man, you've done so well to capture that beautiful emotion in those many hours that you brothers spent with each other. It's just magic. Yeah.
Ev, I want to invite you to kick us off this evening with warm us up, get us hot on what manifestation is about. Whether it be we're talking about to manifest a change in your life, something positive. Because ultimately, I think that's what it's about, right? We're looking to manifest a positive change, whether it be in a relationship, whether it be in our health, whether it be in our career, whether it be in a relationship with someone like a parent that we may be in, or manifest a change in a relationship with a child or children, and or manifest a new relationship.
Yeah, brother. And I mean, you've topped them all on the head there. And just from here in the land down under, as always, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And that clip definitely does get the heart warmed up before the show today. And I think, that's a beautiful example of a manifestation. No matter what that term means, is defined as, and I've looked at that term before because it came up a couple of times within my life when even I started to question how I was helping people, let's say the word, manifest stuff within their lives, because I was caught in the old system, the old goals, chasing goals, reaching for goals, something that was out there. When I started to come into this word manifestation, I started to realize that it was an embodiment of what was in here. So like Jay said, whether it's defined as something that you're trying to manifest within a relationship, whether it's something you're trying to divine, within your health, your career, all of the big three or the big four, as I say, down here on planet Earth that we play in this little dimension, this term manifestation innately, my brothers and sisters, is really who we are. So when you have a look at this term manifestation on how it's defined, they're saying that it's an event, action, or something that is embodied theatrically. Just sit on that for a second. Theatrically. Straight away, my mind races back to the movie set. I've dabbled in this over the last few weeks, and I've talked a lot about how the subconscious is really seeing a movie play out for all of us. And whether it's a movie that was such a beautiful scene that we were just shown by Jay's beautiful video there, or whether it's a movie that is in your worst bloody nightmares, my brothers and sisters, we are manifesting every day, good or bad. We are master manifestors. The real thing here is, my brothers, is are we going to intentionally manifest? Or are we going to keep playing out someone else's manifestation that right here on planet Earth, my brothers and sisters, may not be the scene that we're really looking to play out in our theatre? So look, we're going to be diving in deep tonight, my brothers and sisters, and I'm looking forward to giving you a few steps that's helped not only manifest some of my dreams within my life up until this point, but continues to manifest daily. So let's dive in, my brothers.
So I think what I really want to do is definitely invite you guys to share some of your own stories of manifestation, what you have manifested. And Ev, I love what you said right here in your warm-up and your opening, which is it's not always positive. We can manifest toxic energy, toxic experiences in our life. And so I'll kick it off. I'll share one negative event that happened in my life that I truly believe I manifested that was negative. And I'm going to share later in the show a couple of really amazing ones. But when I was in corporate America and I was going through a very, very stressful time about 2 years before I exited out of my position. And I felt paralyzed. I felt stuck. I was miserable. The stress was, I never experienced anything like it. But I felt trapped because I was earning a substantial income. And I was like, how could I walk away from this? And I know that I manifested a heart attack. Because for me, the only answer out was to get sick. And it was very much on my mind that I needed to have a health issue come up in order to get taken out of that position. And I knew it was going to be a heart attack too. It was a knowing. I manifested it. So, there's always debate about, is it really manifestation or something else going on? But I do believe it is about energy. And I set the intention that I needed to get sick to get out. I didn't see any other healthy way to get out. And so that's my story about what happened back in, I was 48 years old when that unfolded. And so it is a negative, but there's a whole lot of positive manifestation we can do as well.
You know, Ev just says we're master manifestors. We manifest every single day. So Jay, you just said I wanted out of that life, and something manifested in my life, a health problem, got me to not only leave that part of my life that I wasn't enjoying, but also happened so I could learn so much more about me. So what Ev said at the beginning is like we're manifesting all the time. We all, when we say what do I want to manifest, we all want to manifest wonderful things in our lives, but we've all manifested everything in our life that whatever the situation was can help us learn and grow more about ourselves. And I look at certain things that have happened in my life that were wonderful, and now I'm looking, after Ev just spoke, I'm looking at some of the things in my life that weren't so wonderful, but the outcome of those things was what I learned and how I grew from it. So we are manifesting everything in our life. As Jay just said, he manifested ill health. And it just comes about, what do we learn, and what do we learn from it, and how do we grow from it? And then continually to, I always ask the question, what do I want? I ask other people, what do you want? What do you want with your life? What do you want? And it's really about being specific about what you want. I want peace. I want to live a life of peace and love. That's wonderful, but what is it specifically that we want? It's really about being specific. And I even look at some situations recently in my life, and I was more general about what I wanted and not as specific enough about what I wanted, because whatever we put out to the universe, whether it's verbally, we write it down, and energetically, because there's energy behind what we say, there's energy behind what we're writing down with our intentions. It's really about being specific. And just recently in my life, I've realized last couple of years, these wonderful things happen, but it was like on the periphery. It was like I could taste it, and I realized I need to be more specific about exactly what I want.
I love what Laura says here, Jeff. She says, Laura Cusack says, conscious manifestation or unconscious manifestation. We are creating our every moment.
There you go.
Yeah, we are. We are with our intentions in life. It's not about our thoughts.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
It's not about our thoughts. It's manifesting is not up here. The idea might come through and you'll get the aha there, but then it has to trickle down into our heart space. And we had a wonderful conversation about that in our production meeting on Thursday or yesterday.
Josh, what do you make of Laura's statement here?
I was going to say, I mean, Ev, when you opened it up and you said we are also inviting in the unsupportive things and Robert Brooker said it too, the thoughts we hold most. And those can be negative and self-destructive as well. And for me, I think the biggest aha and also the most challenging was taking ownership that it was all of my creation, the good and the bad. And we can't move into full, beautiful, good manifestation until we accept that role as the creator of all of this. And so we can't take the reins of that horse without admitting to ourselves that our past has been of our creation too. And that therein lies the rub. That's the trick. That's the magic moment when you can say, okay, I'm going to stop blaming others. I'm going to stop making excuses. I'm going to stop trying to put all the things in my life on other people, places, or things. And I'm going to say, nope, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility for my action, for my participation in all of that and bringing that into my life. And then when we can accept that is when we finally can move into the place of positive creation. But we have to accept it all. The good, the dark, the bad, the ugly, the wonderful, the magical, the beautiful moments too. It's all of our creation.
Mm.
Well, I'm going to ask Ev to help me understand something here, because what is the difference, for example, between setting a goal and then having tasks or action steps attached to the goal versus setting an intention of what you want to manifest? Can you help us break that down, Ev?
Yeah, look, when I talk about setting goals, I mean, most of us have come past the old SMART goal as the acronym. Jeff mentioned specific, okay? S for specific in SMART. The M, make sure that your goals are measurable. The A, making sure that they're attainable, which is basically nearly the same as the next one, which is R, being realistic for where you are within your life. And T, for time related. Now, why I went from creating SMART goals with people to really getting into more of a manifestive state, it's because, like I mentioned in the intro, goals are something that you're sending a signal out into the universe that you don't have. These are something that are outside of yourself. When you think of that word intention, it's simply something that's coming from within. So if it's something that's coming from within, isn't it a frequency? Isn't it a vibration? Isn't it something that we need to align with, that we just have to find the signature match to really manifest within our reality? Now, over the last few weeks, we've talked about the ego mind, we've talked about the conscious mind, we've talked about the subconscious mind. And when it gets a little bit sciencey, it can get a little bit gooey. But the thing is, once you start to understand this is when what we're saying, like the brother Josh said, when we can go from negative to positive manifestation, you do truly become the creator and realize that you are creating anything within your life. Now, with this subconscious programming, like I said, my brothers and sisters, and look, manifestation, a big thing about it is got to do with what you believe, you live. Let me just say that again. Look at these words. What your belief or your believe determines how you live. So what really comes in the way of what we're trying to align to on that frequency or vibration, like the great Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, you, my brothers and sisters, in verse, your one verse, your story that you're telling yourself, you simply have to align yourself to the frequency. My brothers and sisters, we are energetic beings. So if we've got something that's not manifesting in our desire, because we've got to talk about that real big word, desire, which is really the key manifestation point within all of this. So when we're able to align, like I said, to that frequency and understand that we're electromagnetic beings, my brothers and sisters, we can simply switch in or align to that frequency that we desire within our lives. But it means that some of, again, that old programming, that old conditioning, those old be-life systems, you've got to clean out the junk, because otherwise the subconscious program, 90% of what's going on in our reality will keep playing over and over old stories. If manifestation is something theatrical, what is the set? What is the mindset that you're trying to display into your reality, my brothers and sisters. This shit gets deep, man. This shit gets deep.
So let me ask you this. I want to share Anika. By the way, welcome Anika to Real Men Real Talk Live. This is the first time I'm seeing you pop up with a comment. I may have missed it in the past, but I want to just take this moment to welcome you and thank you for jumping in and jumping on with us in this moment. Anika says, manifestations come from the core of what you truly believe, whether you are aware or not. It can get a little complicated here, and I'll tell you guys why. I do believe, well, before I go there, I want to invite our viewers, if you have manifested something in the last 12 months or less in your life, drop it down into the comments. I'd love to see what that looks like. Bob Phillips says, how do you clean it out?
I think we should start there.
Got to start there. Got to start
there.
100%, Bob. Great question. Jeff, fire away.
Oh no, Jay was. I mean, I'll go. But Jay was.
Right.
I know
I'm good, Jeff. Take it. Run with it, buddy.
We've got to create space in our life within us to have what we say we want. Everybody out there, even including the four of us and within me, we have a life we say we want. So everybody out there right now, what do you say you want? Where are you right now? Ask the question, where am I right now? What do I say? Always say that I want. What have I written down in my journal that I say I want? What have I set intentions to, because this is what I say I want. But I keep on saying it, and it hasn't manifested yet. We have to go in and start to clean out energetically the old stuff within us. I can say that I want the most grand thing in my life, but what is the story that I'm telling the universe about myself? Am I telling am I good enough? Can I have that? Can I really manifest all of that? But no, I'm not really sure. So it's really about moving within, and we've talked about that on, what is it, show 65? I don't know. We've talked about it every single show, movement within, to look at ourselves, to look in the mirror. Look at your list of what you say you want. Ask yourself, like Ev just said, it's energy. Do I resonate with what I say I want right now, where I am? And to be with that. And if you're not, and you have this list and you haven't quote unquote manifested what's on that list yet, keep on looking within and say, what do I have to release? What are the old, once again, programming, conditioning about myself that I've got to release within me so I can create space in my life and within me to have what I say I want.
Beautiful. Love that. Jeff Fasano, breaking it down. Go ahead, Josh.
No, Jeff, you said it beautifully. It's less about the doer energy. All of us guys know the doer energy, the rise and grind. I mean, Ev, you started, you touched on that in our opener, and we were all good at that, right? We can make the square peg fit in the round hole if we really want to, but that's not what the manifestation energy is about. It's less about doing, clinging, wanting, creating a path, anything that has like the doer energy, that I must do this to get that. Forget it. Wipe it out. And Jeff, you talked on it. It's more about removing the things that bring down our energy. Mm-hmm. People, places, things. Mm-hmm. We are what we tolerate. A beautiful, beautiful saying that I love reminding myself of all the time. So removing the things that take down our energy, that take that flame and bring it down into a smaller flame. Our sole job, I was just talking to my mom about this, and hi Mom, she watches the show. So We want to get you on here too. We want to do a mom's episode, but no, I was just telling my mom, it's less about doing and just cranking up our energy, because again, the universe has to meet us, and wrapping gratitude and you guys know me, I'm a gratitude is the secret sauce of the universe, and I love it. That grateful energy around what it is that you're creating, that energy that you're being, that's when things get really fun. So I think for me, it was when I finally cracked the nut, because I was always a seeker. I was always looking for the path to find this manifestation thing. And when I removed that seeking, doing energy and just focused on taking away the things that brought me down and turning up the things that felt good, that's when I hit the sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Creating space.
Yeah, I love that, Josh. I do want to bring up Carrie Crary, who has been managing multiple cancer diagnoses. In this moment, she's just, she showed up tonight like she always does, and what she just said here is, once again, these tactics can lead to people feeling not woke enough. If bad things happen, what work is missing can drive you nuts. And earlier on in the conversation, she says, "Trust me, I never manifested a life with cancer." So, it's not always as I described. Sometimes we end up with compromised health. And I really want to put it out there for someone like Carrie, who's dealing with a very serious diagnosis. I personally think it's not about questioning, did you manifest it? Because we can't go back and change what precipitated where you're at today. But what we can do is focus on how to manifest total health and wellness. And because that's what we have we have control over. We can change the trajectory of our health and wellness. I want to share a story with all of you in this moment. When I was, what happened for me, I manifested a change in my health about 3 years ago now. I had been practicing, Dr. Joe Dispenza, most of you probably are familiar with who he is. I studied his work and how he manifested or changed 6 broken vertebrae, and over a 10-week period went from being wheelchair bound for the rest of his life. Within 10 weeks, he was out of the wheelchair. By the 11th week, he was back on his bike. He was a triathlete, and he self-healed through energy work that he did through a practice that he did every day for hours on end. And when I heard that part of his life story, at that time, and during the same week, I had just had some medical tests done that showed everything was flowing. My bypass to my leg was 100% open. There was no shift or change in my health. And then I started to practice creating an exercise, a mental exercise for myself every day when I go down to the beach, and spend about 20 minutes each morning practicing a visualization in my mind of my blood flowing from head through all my arteries and veins and vessels down to my toes. 8 months later, I went for testing again, and I was then notified that my bypass was 100% occluded. But they found that I had blood pressure at my ankle of 70%. And they said, it's impossible. It's got to be much lower, like maybe 5%, because you don't have any arteries left in your leg. And they did additional testing that day, and they determined that I had created brand new blood vessels. I had created a bypass for my bypass. over the past 8 months, because 8 months earlier, those vessels were not there. And the doctors asked me, how did I do it? What did I do? And it came to me then that I, through my own exercise, visual exercise, I had created collateral vessels, collateral blood flow. And I do believe that once I had the vessels, the universe or God shut down the bypass, it was no longer needed. So for me, I had that health experience of, I didn't focus on what I didn't have. I focused on what I wanted. And that I didn't want to be dependent on Western medicine for my health anymore. And in that moment, you know, how the story ended was, thankfully, the doctors said I had no choice but to have the surgery again and put a second bypass in my leg. And I opted out. I said, absolutely not. I believe in God's natural laws, which is that we have the power to heal. Now, I can't speak for you, Carrie. I can't tell you what you're not doing or what you could do differently. I can only share what worked for me. Was that I had total. I just believed. I knew it was possible. I just watched Dr. Joe Dispenza's video time after time after time after time after time and after time. And through those 8 months, I continued to watch it. Because that's helped me believe that I could energetically change the trajectory of my health. So for me, that's a really powerful story. And I do believe you're doing the work, Carrie. I'm not a doctor. I can't give medical advice on what to do to heal cancer. Oh, but I can share with you is that you have to believe that you were healed. You have to believe that you can wipe out the disease. And you have to be willing to do whatever it takes. A lot leaning into God, leaning into your belief that it's possible. I'm not suggesting you're not doing any of those things. I'm only sharing from my experience. Believe me, I was pissed off when I first got that word about the bypass. I didn't want it shut down. But I believe today that if we believe it's possible, we have infinite possibilities. If any of you gentlemen want to jump in and kind of piggyback me, yeah, I invite you to. But ultimately, I believe we can change the trajectory of our circumstances. We just have to believe it and manifest it.
Absolutely beautiful, my brother. And the word that I keep, catching on that beautiful story, and thanks for sharing, my brother. Heartfelt, my friend, heartfelt. But I keep picking up the word believe. And again, I said what you believe and who you are will inform those choices. It will inform your habits. It will inform your behaviors and actions that you are making and taking in your daily life. So when you really pull back to some of those choices that may not be serving you, some of those habits, and that's really being real with yourself, my brothers and sisters. It's really showing up and taking responsibility for the vessel, the body, and being able to really use it for what it is. And what Jay has actually experienced and provided a beautiful example that the body is designed to heal itself, my brothers and sisters. I'm not saying I'm any medical doctor or anything like that, but if you look at the very fabric of our body, the cellular level and the DNA, the animations that scientists show us, the body is constantly trying to repair itself. But that's only if you give the environment for it to repair itself. It is truly a beautiful vessel, but only, like I said, if you have that belief and those beliefs that really charge those choices, those habits, behaviors, and actions in your daily life that actually serve you, then you can do something as miraculous as our brother has been able to demonstrate. And what that does then, my brothers and sisters, is empowers you for your next creation. And that's who we are, my brothers and sisters. We're creators.
Ev, I want to add. Go ahead, Josh. Go ahead.
No, you just sparked something that I remember hearing from somebody else years ago. It may have been Joe also, of which I'm a fan. But they spoke about, so the body needs time to repair, right? And imagine it being like cleaning the gutters or painting the outside, or getting water to drain away from the house rather than in, which is seeping into the basement and causing damage. We need this loving repair time, and you can't be repairing the house if a fire keeps breaking out in the kitchen. And so we have to work to create that stillness, that self-love, the time for self-care, and all of that. We need, and sleep hygiene for me was massive, absolutely massive. And putting that first and foremost, that is my number one non-negotiable, is my sleep. And that's the body's repair time. That's the time when the fires finally stop breaking out in the kitchen, and we can do those repairs that isn't bringing the whole foundation down.
Yeah, I love that, Josh. And I just want to piggyback here real briefly and say that it's not that we're doing anything wrong if we're still in disease. There's no judgment. Carrie Crary, I love you. This is no judgment. This is just, and it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that for me, it wasn't just believing that it was possible. I had to do a tremendous amount of emotional and mental work. I had to release people, places, and things for that moment that were toxic in my life. I had to pull back on my business. I had to pull back on my work, and not put myself even in a work environment that was causing my vibrations to drop. I had to create the best bubble or insulated environment for me to have that manifestation. So as soon as I had the awareness that in the moment I was dealing, let's say, with a toxic child, a toxic relationship, I let a lot of those relationships go. I had to be willing to step out so I could step in. And my focus was 95% on creating the best environment for my body to heal. And that meant releasing myself from toxic people, places, and things that weren't serving me. And so I want to kind of shift gears here, gentlemen, and invite you to share a positive manifestation that you may have encountered in the last year or less. Even if it didn't have the perfect ending, what have you personally have awareness of that you've manifested?
All right, boys, who's going first?
Kick us off, Jeff.
Jeff, you're muted. Jeff, you're muted, brother.
No.
My cat was crying in the background.
Oh, mine is too, man.
Here she comes. What I was thinking about was I was just in Southern California, in LA, where I used to live. And I remember I've been here now in Nashville 5 years. And when I was living in Los Angeles, there was wonderful times. I manifested some wonderful photographic opportunities and all that good stuff. And I can look back at that now. It's wonderful. But I was not in flow. I was not resonating with that geographical vortex. Energetically, I wasn't feeling it. It was very, very challenging and hard to live there. And I'm thinking about that 5 years ago, and I had come here, and I've been coming to Nashville for a good 15 years. And what I wanted and kept on saying over and over and over again, probably unconsciously, was I want to live in a place that's easy, down to earth, and more soul connected. And that is where I'm at right now. I was in LA for 7 days, and I finally made amends with Los Angeles. But when I going back and all the experiences that began in San Diego, that then seeing Jay and Josh and doing that, I also went back and stayed for the next 5 days in my old neighborhood in Playa del Rey. And it was very nostalgic. And I was walking the beach, and I went in the water. And then I saw a whole bunch of wonderful, amazing people who lived on, Trolley Way, on that street. And it just started to fill me up inside of me to realize that when I was living in LA, and it's now taking me 5 years to come back to this place, because I moved there from New York City, and I was in a whole different level of consciousness when I left New York City. I lived 5 years in California in total survival consciousness, just to survive life, just to scarcity consciousness, constantly looking at what I don't have in my life, constantly looking at what's not in my bank account. It was a big capital N-O-T. What's not, what not. In those 5 years, I really never focused on what was in my life. I never focused on all of these wonderful people who I had met in those 5 years, who were wonderful when I was living there, but I wasn't in that consciousness in a place in my heart space to receive it and to see it. And then I manifested a very, very soul-driven, easy, lovely life here in Nashville. And it is very easy. And I know that I manifested this, and I manifested where I'm living. I can tell that story later. But what I also realized is through that time in LA that I did manifest to learn, it came back full cycle this past week of all the wonderful, amazing people who I met in Los Angeles that I absolutely love, and how much I loved being in the energy of Playa del Rey. And it was an aha that it's like I was there, and in the matter of 5 years, my eyes opened and starting to open, and is still starting to open even more and more what is already in my life and what I have manifested in my life up until this very point in time. And it was that, as you guys were talking, that was just been running through my mind of the gratitude that I have for giving me the time and space to move through that, and then go back and just so much love in 7 days that I had no room in my heart for when I lived in LA that I have now.
I love that, Jeff. Anika says, just the fact of me being here listening to you is me manifesting a loving moment together with you all. Thank you, Anika. Anika, let us know where home is for you. What state, country? universe you come in from. May not be this universe, maybe somewhere else for all we know. Jeff, I do want to piggyback. I think we got the answer, but Deb asked, Deb coming in from Canada, that is, not California. I get California in my mind, Josh, still. He says, Jeff, what did you specifically do to get out of lack mentality, mentally, to manifest mentally? Could you just give us a quick 1 minute brief capture of that? I think I heard it, but I want to.
First, I had to identify that that's where I was. Goes back to what Eva said when we first started the show. I had to go in and admit to myself that I'm living in scarcity consciousness. I'm living in survival consciousness. I'm continually looking at what isn't in my life and telling the same story over and over and over again. That story, that why would I ever be loved because my bank account is this? Why would I ever be loved if they looked at where I live? Why would I ever be, why? And then all of a sudden it hit me, and I had to start to admit that that's where I am. The first way to shift all of this is that you look into the mirror, ask yourself, where am I? And you begin there. That's how it began for me. And then I had to just start using tools of gratitude, looking look at what I've done in my life. Look at who is in my life. Look at what I have done, even as a photographer, and do that and use these tools to look, because the glass is already more than half full. Josh said that earlier. And that's how I began it. And then, as Ev has always said, it's practice, my brothers and sisters. What do you think?
Thanks for sharing that, Jeff. Josh, I want to ask you, what have you manifested in the last year or less?
Year or less? Oh, man. Well, I did want to touch on, Jeff, I was in scarcity and lack, and money, finances were specifically my major trigger. Mm-hmm. And that put me in rehab. It was, owing $500,000 to investors and not knowing how to pay it back, and living in that, I had to move into I rented a room from a guy for $900 because I was working so hard to pay everybody back. And that, like Jeff, like you, it felt small. It felt less than. It felt like, I wasn't worthy of meeting an awesome woman and bringing that into my life, and so the environment didn't support me either, but I did it for a reason. I did it for a purpose, and I did it for a time. And that time is over. But yes, it was a beautiful thing this last fall when I decided to take off and go shoot my documentary. And I decided to step into the unknown and embrace it and not get caught in the how. How was I going to pay for this? How was it how are all the details going to play out? That's the brain energy. That's up here. It's not down here. I stayed in the why because I want to wake people up. I want to help people. I want to expose people to the truth about our brains. And that's what the documentary is about, is all of this work. And so I stayed deep, deep, deep in the how and in the love of what I was creating. And the money came. I have never been blessed with so much money. And it came out of my bank account just started filling up. And I was in it in the fall, and I'm like, how was I able to buy almost $20,000 worth of video, professional video equipment, when literally 6 months prior I was worrying about paying my bills? The money just came out. I still to this day can't tell you where it came from, but it did, and the project was supported. So I've felt the deep shift from where and it was literally within 6 months that shift happened. And I can squarely say that it's because I was living in the why, not the how.
There you go, brother.
How about you, Ev? What have you manifested this year, man?
I love those stories, my brother. Like I said, man, I think we're all manifesting each day in and out. I want to share a manifestation that is a pretty big one, and I think I've shared it with you, Jay. I may have shared it with the brothers as well. And I guess as we get into some of the tools that we've been able to successfully use to manifest certain things within our lives, I want you to listen very closely on how I manifested this. So in my meditation, I do one of the meditations that I do is visualization meditation. And there was a couple of months I started to visualize. There's always been a dream, I guess. It's always been up in the woodworks. And my brothers just happened to have been, I don't want to put it out there too loud, talking about that word retreat. As I actually put it, I actually put down the word, it should be known as a treat. I ain't retreating from anything when I'm going to these camps, man. I'm treating myself on those weekend and workshops. And one of those things within the visualization meditation, I'll take you through, and I'm happy to do this now, and only for one reason. It's because it's manifested itself into real time already. I would not share this on any other occasion, and that's one big, big, big lesson, my brothers and sisters. Don't go out sharing what you want to manifest. Don't go out sharing your intentions. Don't go out sharing your goals, whatever you want to call them, to anyone. Anyone, my brothers and sisters. We have plenty of friends, but guess what, my brothers and sisters? We got plenty of frenemies. One of those big things that I kept to myself was my manifestation of this treat. So I was picturing myself through my imagination. I'm image nation, flying over mountains. In my treat, as I call them, I see myself as an eagle flying over mountains. I give myself an aerial view. I go to the place that I want to manifest as if I already have it within my life. When I fly over those mountains, I get a sense of these beautiful feelings and really amplify them within my visualization. I get into the detail of the visualization. What am I flying over, my brothers and sisters? I see the beautiful gum trees down there. I see the beautiful waterways sculpting the country and the lands. I hear sounds of nature. I can feel the breeze as that eagle flying over the mountains. Now, I'm going to cut that visualization just short right there because I want to finish off the story and I honor and value everyone's time. Only a month, maybe 2 months maximum after I was doing that visualization of my treat, I just happened to receive a call. Yeah, I happened just to receive a call. A guy that I hadn't seen in 20 years. 20 years. He used to come to a shop when I was just a young fella, working in men's retail, as I've mentioned on the show before. He said, Ev, you know all that stuff you're doing online? Absolutely love it, brother. He said, you know what? Everyone that I ask about you, they cannot say a bad thing about you, my brother. He said, I love that about you, Ev. He said, it shows your integrity. It shows that you're a man of your word. It shows you all those beautiful words that really start to empower you. He said, my brother, he said, how would you like to do that in front of thousands of people? I'm thinking, what are you talking about, brother? He said, mate, I own a block of land. It's not far from here in the land down under where we live in our location. And he said, I want you to be speaking up on that on a retreat. Yeah, my brothers and sisters. Guess what the name of that place is? Eagle Reach. Manifestation 101, my brothers and sisters. I came from the place as if it was already manifested. I amplified the feelings and the emotions that made me feel at peace, secure, and in a lot of excitement and joy in that particular place. I imagined the place as if it already existed, and I had a bird's eye view. My brothers and sisters, we're down here to imagine our way into our life. Like the great William Blake said it, my brothers and sisters, to the eyes of a man of imagination, nature itself is imagination. Peace.
All right, we just hit the hour mark. I think we're done.
I think we're done. I agree.
Thanks for coming, everybody. We appreciate
you.
Gotta
go.
Beautiful, Ev.
Well, that was quite the beautiful story of.
I didn't finish it there, though, brother.
Oh. But wait, there's more.
Wait, there's a bonus. And why I wanted to tell the story today, because only on 7/7, just a couple of days ago here in the land down under, I hadn't heard from the brother. And when you work with spirit, when you work with nature, my brothers and sisters, not the artificial crap that we've been working with, spirit comes to you in 3 feathers. I was walking down the street. I saw 1 feather, picked it up. I walked about 20 meters, picked up the 2nd feather. And no word of a lie, my brothers and sisters, the 3rd feather just happened to be that brother driving around the corner. It's pure magic. And that's what we're living in, my brothers and sisters. It's called the 5th dimension. Come on board. It's a good space.
Beautiful. Love that. Absolutely love this. This is such a powerful story. I think what I want to do here is let's get into magical musical chairs right now. And what I'm going to do is, as you know, the rules of this little fun game here, when you're to my right, upper shelf, means it's your turn. You have 2 minutes to do a rap. But tonight, what I want to do is I'm going to switch it up, Ev. I'll give you something else to do here. But what I'd like to do, Jeff, is I'd like you to warm us up here on a close and share the most recent manifestation, for better or worse, that you experienced. If I may invite you to indulge us with a powerful story.
Well, Ev brought up 20 years. I heard Ev say 20 years. What we're getting at is there was a woman who came into my life 20 years ago.
There you go.
Who I met in Miami, Florida, and we had a wonderful connection. And we both lived in New York City. She's an actress. I was a photographer and still am. She's still an actress. And she just had, it was wonderful connection. And we stayed in touch in New York. And then she moved back to Los Angeles. And then we stayed in touch. And I wound up going to LA and doing a photo shoot. And we did that. And then that was 15 years ago. And she's never left my consciousness because this person has got a wonderful soul and a beautiful heart. And there is, for me anyway, is a connection there. And then one night after the show or whatever, is asked a question, is somebody that really touched your heart and touched your life that you'd ever want to see again? And I just blurted out this person's name. And then they said, well, get on that, Fasano. So I found this person on Instagram, sent a message. Know a person who knows her, asked them about that. And then I just dropped it. Well, on July 4th, I was invited to a 4th of July party on my old street, Trolley Way in Playa del Rey, California. And I saw 2 friends of mine that day, and I was a little tired. And wouldn't you be tired if you spent an entire Saturday with Josh, Jay, and Mary Kelly? So I fell asleep and woke up, and I said, I want to go to that party. And I literally heard, there's someone there. And I went, oh, wow. And in my mind, I said, I'd love to see my old landlord. And so I got up and just, it was chilly, and walked down. I was walking down, and I got to the end of Trolley Way, and there's my landlord, my old landlord. And he yells out, Jeff Fasano, what the hell are you doing here? And this woman who was standing behind a couple of people said, Jeff Fasano, turned around, and it was that woman who the last time I saw 15 years ago. And she jumped into my arms, and we hugged, and it was pretty amazing seeing this person again after 15 years, and my heart just opened wide, and it was so surreal that I couldn't even believe that I was seeing her. I never really thought I'd ever see her again. So it was wonderful. We reconnected, and when that happened, and then she left, and I told somebody that story, they said, you manifested that. And I've been thinking about that, but that was just a wonderful, surreal, out of the bunch of surreal things that happened to me in LA. Beautiful. So whether I manifest, but I did hear that voice, somebody's there.
I love that story, Jeff, and I was so excited when you reached out to me to share it. I think that evening when you got back to where you were staying, and you were just you were still in the moment. It was as though you were still there with her. But what I took away from it was how blown away you were by the fact you had a knowing that you had manifested that meeting after 15 years had passed. Because you didn't even have her contact information anymore. Nope. And there she was. She showed up at the party that you went to on a weekend that you were in LA.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, and it really was an amazing and wonderful expansion in my heart space. My friend Bobby, my landlord, said, if only I had a camera in that moment to capture the look on her face and the look on your face. He goes, we need more of that in this world. And it was a pretty special moment. And we talked about it, and I just quickly wanted to go back to, because what's happening for me in my manifestations now are all, and this goes back to Deb's question, how to do it. A lot of what's manifesting for me in my life now, and even all the appreciating and gratitude, and now reminiscing, so to speak, of what I have manifested in my life, is all because I am, for the first time in my life, I am moving into so much value for who I am.
Beautiful, brother.
For who I am. That's how we manifest things.
Beautiful.
100.
It's just that's what it is, and thank goodness for these guys who hold that mirror up to me, all the time, and are honest with me about it, because I can go into that doubt. Oh really? And when I told that story, and Ev was like, you manifested that, and I was like, okay.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jeff Fasano. If I was there, I'd give you a hug right now, but this is what I can give you, a virtual hug.
Virtual hug for brother. Yeah, man.
Josh Ritchie, you are up. Josh, I'm going to ask you a question tonight. If you live in ego space, is it possible that manifestation can work?
Nope.
What about negative manifestation, brother?
Yeah.
There you go.
And you know what? I'm feeling drawn too. I really wanted to. I'm going to circle back for a quick second on Mary Carey.
Carrie Cray.
Carey Carey. Sorry.
You got
That's
it.
okay. I just called
Mary Healy.
Mary Healy, who was a friend of mine
Just
since 1979.
Crossovers. Yeah.
I've been to that space when I was completely angry and gave up on God or any higher power because everything just kept getting worse in my life. Owing $500,000, the depression, the anxiety, and I've talked about this before, but it felt right to continue in my startup and keep putting money in. And I kept checking in with the universe. And then it would the next level would blow up in my face and we get financially worse. And I was out on this exposed limb and I kept checking in to God and the universe and saying, should I keep continuing? And the answer was yes. And then it got worse. And it was this 10-year absolute destruction of me emotionally and financially. And at the end, I was so bitter and angry at the world. And I was left with this deep why. I held on to this deep, angry why for 5-6 years as it was getting worse. And then me in rehab, almost taking my own life, all of that. And I know we've talked about it before, but the point I'm trying to make is we have a soul agreement. We have a contract coming down here, and we don't get the luxury of always knowing what that was. Mm-hmm. And for me, this 10-year why, deep, painful. I gave up on God, everything, the universe, everything. I was so angry and bitter at the end for being utterly destroyed. And I was I've said this before, but I was on the phone with my mom, and I was again reiterating that painful why. Why did this happen? And it felt so right to keep going further and deeper. And then I realized that it had to happen. I had to be brought to my knees because I wasn't a television art director. I wasn't a tech startup co-founder. I'm a teacher. And it had to go. I had to be brought to my knees so that I could figure out how to get out of it to teach other people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not comparing. We all have our own existences. All I'm saying is it was a 10-year not knowing what that was. And 10 years is a very long time to live in a painful why. But the answer came after 10 years. And I was so deeply grateful and humbled in that moment when it all came to light that I immediately started breaking. It was like tears of absolute gratitude. So it's so tough. And it's tough to say, was that a manifestation, or was it my soul's contract, my lesson, my beautiful gift? And there may be a 10-year gap for that answer to come, but it will come if you're open to it, and the answer will be revealed. And so I know this because this subject can go that way, and it can bring up so much anger and disappointment and frustration in people who have struggled. And so I just felt really compelled to share that side of it. That
beautiful, brother.
It may be a soul contract and not necessarily your manifestation either. And the answers will come. Mm-hmm. I promise.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Josh.
But I feel you. I really do.
Josh, I want to invite you to maybe say a prayer in this moment for Carrie. Because I
Mm.
know she's hurting tonight. I feel it.
I feel it. I feel you, Carrie. Carrie, taking all of our love, everyone in this moment, all of you out there, open your hearts. Pour your love to Carrie in her body. Carrie, feel the cleansing white light of all of our love, purifying your cells, washing over your human body, and pushing out all of that dis-ease, pain, struggle, frustration. Just allow all of our love, our collective love together, filling you up. And there's nothing lacking. There's no need. There's no want. There's no desire. Just pure joy and love from all of us. And imagine it filling you up and pushing out any darkness, any cells that are damaged or blocked or struggling, anything that's unpure can't live there in this pure expression of love. You are love. And we are all connected. We are you and you are us. And Carrie, we love you.
Beautiful, Josh.
But yeah, I feel you, Carrie.
Thank you, Josh. You know, through what you just shared, I have total faith in the process. I know it's possible. I believe in you, Carrie. You have way too much left to do, and you're going to do it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Evis Love Heath, the man of the land from down under. Woo! I'm going to invite you just to kind of put a pretty bow, do a quick wrap from your perspective, because you went deep tonight. The last story about Eagles Ridge really was a close. Maybe just share just a kind of a wrap on a couple of tips and tricks. Just kind of frame it out for us tonight.
Yeah.
Manifesting the good and letting out the toxic energy. How do we do it?
I think tonight, and again, Josh, that was beautiful, brother. Thank you. And man, I think tonight we can really start to share that there really isn't one way just to manifest. You know, if we are all co-creating with that divine essence of who we truly are, that very I am, the very fabric of your divine self, then we all may come down here co-creating in our own way. You know, we've heard beautiful stories from my brother's Jay's beautiful story of being able to heal. We've heard Jeff being able to manifest, a beautiful story after a 20-year gap in space and time that we knew it as. We've heard our brother Josh share a beautiful story also within his journey, and I also shared a story within mine. Brothers and sisters, as we come into this new way of living, this fifth dimension, this new earth, which I call the birth, I invite you now to tell your story. Now, so many of us, and I can feel the anger, I can feel the pain, I can feel the suffering, because I know each and all of us, we've all been through some sort of grief, some sort of pain, some sort of hurt within each and all of our lives. It's that very pain, it's that very anger, it's that very hurt, and some of those other emotions that really allow us to bring some of that beautiful humility and humanity to the surface. And why I say that is important for you in your story is because when you rise out of the fall, no matter what that may look like, you think just how much power, how much empowerment that you have been able to create as the co-creator down here in this physical existence, to be able to survive through what we've been through. You think of all of that strength, that courage that allows us to then go on to create day in, day out what it is we want to see out in the reality, in the real, as I say. But if we're down here playing out a story, my brothers and sisters, I want you to be clear on the story that you want to tell, not on someone else's story that you've been playing out. Are you writing your script? Are you acting out daily through some of those choices, habits, spirituals, as I call them, non-negotiables, as Jay the Rothman says? Are you practicing them daily? Are you now making your body believe that this time around it's the story that you want to tell, not one that is based on trauma, not one that is based on abuse, not one that is based on hurt or any other pain? Because when we can make that beautiful connection from that I am, that higher self, that body, that physical body, the emotional, energetic body, my brothers and sisters, that is only when we can tell our story together as that one that I keep talking about here in 2021. So I invite you to really listen to some of these tools that my brothers have shared tonight, because we all shared something different, but it all had in the air manifestation. And to me, what was so magic about all these stories coming together was that I finally heard a coherence, a beautiful connection of that divine feminine and that sacred masculine coming together finally. So my brothers and sisters, on that note, go out and manifest, co-create the story that you want to see out in your reel.
Beautiful, Aaron. I want to just share here, right, because I think this is really appropriate. Katrina May, coming in from Canada, says, the universe doesn't shake things up to break you. It shakes things up to wake you. You're not being pushed to your limits. You're being pulled towards your potential. There is a driving force that will never give up on you. You have not been thrown to the wolves. You have been placed there intentionally to lead the pack.
Magic, sister. I'm
going to invite one of you gentlemen to hit me up with a question or help me put together my closing thoughts.
Well, since we've just all talked about what we've manifested in the last year.
Okay.
Mr. Rob, what have you manifested in the last year?
I'm going to take it down the last 2 weeks.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, now this is interesting because, Jeff, I haven't shared this story with you guys. But this is my truth. I made a trip to Los Angeles back around the 23rd or so of June. I've lost track of dates, to attend a memorial. And my intention, that was on a Sunday, I think. My intention was to come home on at the latest Tuesday. But I knew the following Friday, Jeff, you were going to be in LA. That was something like 11 days later. And Mary and I talked about it, and it was like, it's like a 9-hour drive. So one possibility was we'd come home, and then potentially, if we felt up to it, emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, we would drive back to LA to meet you, Jeff, and spend that time together, the three of us. But that felt really heavy to me, really heavy. And at some point I said to Mary, doubtful. That we're going to want to come back. And so we make the trip, we're in a trip, and I don't have an answer. I don't know how we're going to bridge that gap. But both of us together manifested a different outcome. How we manifested the outcome was we didn't know how it was going to happen. We didn't know the circumstances. But somehow we knew we were going to come together. And so we get word that the forest is closed, national forests are closed due to wildfires in Arizona. And that same day, we get a text from a friend of ours who lives in Phoenix and drops a text and lets us know that she's going to be in LA, staying at a very, very dear friend's home to the 5th of July. And that she invited us to stay there as long as we needed or wanted to. Let me back up. We got the text from her, like at 7:30 on a Monday morning. And the next day that evening, we get word that the forest is closed. And I look at Mary and I said, we just got the bridge and we didn't do a thing. But what we did do is we just trusted that somehow, some way, it was going to happen. We didn't know how, and neither one of us invested time or strategy to figure it out. What we did was we trusted the universe that somehow, some way, it was going to be manifested. We had the bridge. We needed an 11-day bridge because we were not going to drop the money to stay in hotels for 11 days in LA. We know what that would look like. So it worked out. We ended up accepting her incredibly gracious offer and stayed in this amazing, beautiful home, very like 2 miles from the ocean. Runnable. You could run there. I didn't. I took the car and then we did a lot of walking along the shoreline. But what ended up happening was, obviously we got to spend the weekend with you guys. And then we drove home last Sunday, where the forest was still closed and they said it was going to be closed to September 1st. We get home Sunday night. Monday morning, we wake up and we get word from an organization that we are affiliated with today, notifying us in advance that the National Forest was going to make an announcement that afternoon that they were reopening the forest on Tuesday morning, back in business. Wow. I want to talk about manifesting that, because between now and September 1 was a lot of lost income, not doing my hiking heels. back in business. We didn't do anything. We didn't have to do anything to really manifest it other than just believe that it's possible that things were going to work out. Just trusting God, trusting the universe. Now, that was a lot easier for us to manifest. I had to do a whole lot of work to manifest blood flow through my right leg. That took a lot of practice and a lot of trust and believing as well. This was a very different experience of manifestation. But I still got an amazing outcome, one that was beautiful, one that, again, showed me that when I get out of my own way, my headspace, and get into my heart space and open up, just open up to all possibilities. I emptied out the head thoughts, the head talk, so I can make room in my heart for infinite possibilities. For those of you that may have missed our opening tonight, I want to button up the show tonight. I want to replay a short video that I worked on earlier today to pay honor, respect, and love to our experience of being together last weekend and holding space, knowing that Ev, you were missed. It was like, again, that when one of us misses a show, it's not the same. But you were, I know for me, I can't speak for Jeff and Josh, but you were consistently in the back of my thoughts. And I'm sure, knowing how you show up, you felt it from Australia to Seoul, California. And with that, I'm gonna, before we say our goodbyes, viewers, thank you so much for joining us this evening on episode 65. We love each and every single one of you. Keep showing up for yourself. Do the work. Practice, practice, practice. Self-care, which will be your gateway to self-love as it was for myself. And we're going to wrap tonight's show up with this short video, and then we'll take us out with our closing.
Under the starlight, we'll find our way, I know. This is the start of something beautiful. With you by my side, there's no place that we can't go. This is the start of something beautiful. When the wind moves along your face, it captures
I got it. I'm here.
I long to say. So don't look back, love, and don't you wait. Just say you'll run with me, come what may. Under the starlight, we'll find our way, I know. This is the start of something beautiful.
Beautiful, brother. Yeah, man.
Give me one more time, gentlemen. That's how manifestation can work. Right there. I love you guys. Peace and blessings.
Love you.